Okay, so can everybody see this first screen? It's a little bit about myself. I have a wonderful wife at home. Her name is Terry. I have 4 children, one of which you know, married. And then I have a son, Eric, who's married and lives in Florence, Alabama, a daughter, Anna, who lives in Raleigh, and with her boyfriend, Grant, who's getting his PhD from NC State. And the youngest of the Kooper clan is up at Clemson, following in her brother's footsteps, going to the university there, studying education. So I am a Coker grad of 91. So I did start working at Sunoco when I went to Coker. That's why the 30 years, you probably thought, man, that guy's got to be really old to have 30 years with the company. But I am a 91 grad, did come down from Ohio to play soccer. I was a goalkeeper for Coker. I did that just for about 2 years, and then decided that the soccer wasn't going to pay my bills and needed to find something else. So I started working here at Sunoco, and the rest is history. The Kooper Leadership Academy is really what I believe is my passion and purpose. One, give back to the community. I learned a lot leaving, like you did, or home, or Kelsey, I think you were from New York. So, when you leave home, there's a lot of things and growing up that you do. And I really feel thankful to be had the opportunity to go to Coker, the roundtable experience, and really just the family environment to kind of help me grow and develop into the person that I am today. And I really have, and I think this is important. One of the things that I learned a long time ago is you really need to have a life philosophy. So my life philosophy is every day is a great day. Some days are just better than others, right? Every day we get up, we have an opportunity to do a lot. And I think it's those days or those moments where we take advantage of those days to make a difference really makes a big difference to those that you don't even know. So my life philosophy is every day is a great day. Some days are better than others. So Dr. Burkemper sent out an email yesterday afternoon and asked for you all to go to your mailbox. I know some of you are not at Coker, so you couldn't go to your mailbox. But did everyone go and get your first ever Kooper Leadership Academy journal? Well, good. So what I want you to do right now is just open up the first page. You can put your right here where it says name and address, and then right underneath there, put your life's philosophy. If you don't have one yet, that's fine. But it's a good reminder as we work through this journal that every time you open it up, are you living your life's philosophy? So if you didn't get a chance to do that, maybe just write it down on a piece of paper. And then once you are back on campus, or if you don't come back to campus, do let Dr. Burkemper know, and he said he would get this mailed to your house. So this will be great. You guys are the first ones ever. So it's like, in 30 years, it might be vintage. Who knows, right? Who knows? Okay. So any questions about life's philosophy? Any questions for me before we jump right into it?
Gary, I'll just let you know I have the slides over here. So if you see me glance this way, I am still paying attention.
Well, I would not call you out if you weren't, Dr. Burkemper. All right, so can everybody, is my face good? Can everybody see? Am I looking where I need to look, like Andy said? Okay, perfect. All right, Dr. Burkemper, we're ready to roll. Okay, so I'm a big person on quotes, and if you think about where we are today and the changes that you all have had to overcome, think about whether it was your freshman year to where you are now, how quickly and rapidly things have changed for you. And this quote, I think, is very appropriate for the time that we're in today. And I think many of you have made reference to, when I get out into the real world, everything is this continuum of maturity, life's experiences. And I do believe for you at your current state and what you've had to work through, adjust from, Tim, being a non-traditional student, doing online, trying to work, go to school, All these things kind of form who we are as individuals and really lay a solid groundwork. But in this quote, it says, a pessimist complains about the wind. The optimist expects it to change, but the realist adjusts the sails. So I've always said, if you think about the 4 seasons that we have, right? Winter, what comes after winter? Anyone? Winter, what comes after winter? Spring, what comes after spring? Summer, right? And then what? Kelsey, go ahead. You were agreeing. Go ahead, Kelsey. What is it?
Fall.
Oh, that's great. So is there any surprise that we have 4 seasons? Can we change those 4 seasons? Can we change the way the wind blows? No, we can't change any of that. But what can we do? We can adjust, right? We can adjust our sails to adapt to the things that are put before us. So think about it in the last 24 hours. What things have you had to adjust to because you really haven't had any control? But if you're an optimist, you wish it to change. It's never going to change, right? If you only complain about it, it certainly is never going to change. You're probably going to be a miserable person, and no one wants to hang around people that complain. Agree? Raise your hand if you agree. No one likes to hang around complainers. Nobody. Here's a reason why. 80% of the people are happy as you, right? And the other 20 don't care, right? So no one wants to hear you complain. All right. So that's one thing I want to impress upon the group is you're asking for reality. You're going to get it from me, right? So I'm not here to motivate you, although I'll try, but I'm here to hopefully educate you on some things specifically around what we can do differently, both today, tomorrow, in the future, to be a better person, a better leader, and we'll work on defining what better means. Any questions on this first quote by William Arthur Ward or anything to add? Okay, next slide. All right, so there's 3 things I really like to teach, and I call this KLA's trifecta. Time, it's the great equalizer. In today's session, we're going to talk all about time. Some of you mentioned, being able to balance different things that you have coming at you. How do I get more use out of my day? How do I balance? How do I work towards? So we're going to talk about time, and that's really what this session is going to be focused on. And then 30 days from now, we're going to talk a lot about focus. How do we do simple better? And the third part of the trifecta is effort. At the end of the day, the power is in you. Your situation isn't going to change until you change. You might want to write that down. Your situation isn't going to change until you change. Any questions on the 3 areas that we're going to be working through during the academy over the next 90 days? All right. I can tell if you're writing down and all that, so that's good with the camera on. So it's a good way.
And I'll encourage you all to jump in and show leadership when Gary asks you to chime in.
Thank you, Dr. Burkemper. And gang, this is really for you to take stuff away. So I do want to encourage you. I know as we get to know me and we warm up and kind of get things going, I know it is hard when you're doing things via the computer to really jump in. But remember, if you do have a question, just hit that raised hand icon down at the bottom and we'll be in good shape. So let's talk about time. Another great quote. Act on the important, don't react to the urgent. Let me say that again. Act on the important, but don't react to the urgent. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And I have a book. I'm a big reader. I have a leadership, has written a lot of books. And I want to read something out of this. And remember, this is specifically an academy. So academy is about learning. So this particular chapter is called Know Thy Time. And I just want to read something, two paragraphs to you in this. It says, time is also a unique resource. Of the other major resources, money is actually quite plentiful. We long ago should have learned that it is the demand for capital rather than the supply which sets the limit to economic growth and activity. People are the third limiting resource, but you know what? We can rarely hire enough good people, but we can hire people. I would argue that maybe people aren't in great demand, given my role and what I do see as a challenge in the marketplace. But one cannot rent, hire, buy, or otherwise obtain more time, right? Let me say that again. One cannot rent, hire, buy, or otherwise obtain more time. The supply of time is totally inelastic, right? It's what we have. So time is totally irreplaceable. Within limits, we can substitute one resource for another, copper for aluminum. We can substitute capital for human labor. You can do automation. That's an example of capital. But there is no substitute for time. No substitute for time. So as you think about this hour and a half of your day, it's really what you do with this time that's going to make a big difference. Next slide. So let's think about time. And if you have your journal, I want you to just think about this. There's 168 hours in a week. And in 24 hours, that's a day, there's 1,444 minutes and 86,400 seconds in a day. So I don't know what time you woke up this morning, but it's a commodity that you're never going to get back, ever. Once that time is gone, it's gone. And the one difference between those who succeed and those who don't succeed is how they utilize those 86,400 seconds in a day. There's no difference between Bill Gates, Oprah Winfrey, LeBron James, Messi from a soccer player standpoint. Name any person that comes to mind. We all have the same amount of time in a day. And our biggest challenge is, gang, is what do you do with that time is going to really what defines you as an individual, whether it's at school, whether it's in your sports, whether it's at your home, your community, but it's the greatest equalizer in life. That's one thing that I really want you to take away from this session today is you have 86,400 seconds in a day, and it's what you do at that time that matters. Next slide. Oh, Mary Kooper, you have your hand raised.
Yeah. Do you think it would be impossible to be as successful as like the people that you mentioned earlier? Because I know like a lot of successful people wake up very early, as I know you do as well. Do you think it would be impossible to be as successful if you slept in, or do you think how much value would you put on like waking up early?
Well, that's a great question. And, there's a lot of studies about waking up at 4 in the morning and, that.
Is Gary cut out for others again?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So Gary, we'll wait till you're back.
Is it as an advantage, right, for those?
Sorry, Gary, you cut out right as you're about to answer your question. If you'd go again.
Yeah. So what did you hear?
Well,
Nothing.
That's it. Well, it's funny because the screen changes or freezes, but I'm talking, but it doesn't say it went away. So your question, Mary, was what's the value of waking up early?
Yeah.
And I just said that if I get up at 4 and someone else gets up at 6, what advantage have I just gained?
2 hours of time.
2 hours. That's right. Alicia, I saw your finger or your hand go up, and then Mary, your comment. So I don't know that it's what time that you get up necessarily. It depends on what your goals and objectives are. But what is important is that whatever time you do decide to get up, what effort are you putting in for the rest of the day towards your goals and objectives? That's what's important. But there's been a lot of studies, again, about those, and like, Kobe Bryant, who, as you know, passed away, plane wreck. I mean, he was like always working on his craft, always working to get better. But there is a element of sacrifice that you have to give up for the things that you want to achieve. And I have another quote that I love. It's called mind over mattress. How easy is it to just hit the snooze button? Pretty easy, right? And once you hit the snooze button, you've
Folks, we might try killing the videos for just a little bit to see if we can get a little bandwidth back. Let's try that. And Gary, we lost you again, so we're trying to go without videos. Can you hear us again?
Yeah, and it may be on my end, guys, so I apologize for that. So we'll keep rolling here. So I did see everybody's face freeze up that time. So what was the last thing that you heard me say?
Mind over mattress and hitting the snooze. How easy it's to hit the snooze.
Right. Then that really, you lost the first battle of the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Marishi, looks like you got your hand raised.
Yeah, I had a question about one of the when you were talking about time and the stuff that you need to give up. Do you think it's a good idea to give up your sleep, like sleeping less, in order to achieve your goals? Is that something you should do?
Well, I think from a health and wellness standpoint, no, right? I don't know that, but everybody is required a different amount of sleep and rest. What I will say, Marisha, is if you want it bad enough, you're not going to sleep anyway, right? It's whatever you're willing to commit to give up towards that goal or objective that you're trying to achieve. But absolutely, am I not suggesting to the group that you should give up sleep as a result of or in place of health and wellness? Okay. Good question, both of you. Yep, Julie, your hand's up.
Yes, so I think I'm the only biology major here, so I'm actually a STEM scholar as well. And I remember my freshman year, we had Dr. Avanzado. She came in and she was kind of talking to us about the same thing, like how do we utilize our time, especially as scientists. And so she would refer back to like Albert Einstein, and she showed us pictures of Albert Einstein like in a park looking at birds. And she said, oftentimes as scientists and, for anybody else, really, we think we have to give up a lot of things in order to be productive and get things done and accomplish things, etc. But she said even the most brilliant people who spent so much time on their studies allowed themselves to enjoy things like Albert Einstein did. Albert Einstein did by watching birds in the park. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Like, even though we do need to give up things, we can also still make time to do things that we enjoy doing and still be able to get things done that we want to get done. So.
Absolutely. Julie, thank you for that. And that is important. Everybody needs the time to think and really enjoy life. And the point I want to make really is that in that 86,400 seconds that you have in a day, you're really choosing, and we're going to get into this time equalizer matrix, where you are spending your time. And I do think, like Marisha, you said, it's not about the sleep and replacement of your health and wellness. It's really about what are you trading off, or what decisions are you making in order to achieve whatever goals that you have. And some of that may simply be mindfulness, as Julie, you said. You need time to think. You need time to get away from the busyness of life to kind of recenter and establish, and everybody has their own way of doing that. So those are great questions and good examples of what we're going to get into next. Kelsey?
Guillermo has a hand raised, and
Okay.
then maybe we can move along after that one.
Absolutely.
Yes, my question is in regards with the sleeping time. Do you think that it's important to set up a routine in terms of what time do you wake up every morning, despite you don't have anything to do that day? Like, for example, even on Saturdays or Sundays, or maybe during the week. That, for example, I don't have class on Tuesday and Thursday this semester. Should I wake up at the same time I wake up on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or should I modify to get more sleep or something like that? What do you think about that?
That's a great question, and I'm a big believer in routine. So I do think that that's important. And again, going back to what your schedules are, and how you balance all the things that you have, I do think it's very important to establish a routine. And once that routine's established, then what are you doing as part of that goal achievement that you're trying to achieve? But yeah, routine's important for sure. Next question.